Thought it was probably a good time to revisit the Milwaukee Bucks in another video. So that's what we're going to do today, is basically just talk about this team, talk about their chances to be a contender, because it certainly feels like they're on the fringes of contention and kind of have been all season. Not a team that has really been talked about all that much besides the in-season tournament, obviously when they went on a run. But I think they're a team that, yeah, they're on the fringes of contention and they might surprise some people. And I think they're better than people give them credit for, is basically what I will say. Another impressive win today against, admittedly, a Sixers team that has struggled a lot this season, but the Sixers did have all three of their big three today, with Tyrese Maxey scoring 39 points, Joel Embiid had 27, 12, and 6, and then Paul George, who is, I mean, I don't think he really counts anymore as part of a big three, but either way, didn't have himself a great game. But either way, Embiid had a good game, Tyrese Maxey had a great game, hyper efficient as well, 16 23, 5 of 10 from 3 is crazy impressive. And the Bucks still find a way to win without Giannis Antetokounmpo, who will be out through the All-Star break. Sounds like it is a minor injury though, which means he's only going to miss a couple of games here leading up to the All-Star break this week, and they already won one of them, so that is a good sign. The question really is though, is can the Bucks get to that top tier in the Eastern Conference? Can they compete with the Cavs, the Celtics, and a team like the Knicks as well? Because they're going to have to, plain and simple. Like, they are absolutely going to have to beat 2 or 3 of those teams to make a run this year. And look, I think that's the goal in Milwaukee. It's not the goal that's being discussed nationally, but if you were to go ask the guys in Milwaukee right now, what's your goal for the season? I think the goal would be make the finals. Like, that's what they want to do. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo in the prime of his career at 30 years old. Damian Lillard still playing high level basketball. Today he goes for 43 points, 14 to 27, 8 of 15 from 3. Like, that is elite level Damian Lillard basketball right there. 8 assists and 7 rebounds as well. Really carrying the team to a win in a lot of ways. Had himself a great game, although he did get a lot of help. Gary Trent, not super efficient, but had 23 points, made 7 threes. A efficient 2 of 4 from 3, 11 points for AJ Green. Bobby Portis had 18, 13, and 5 off the bench, one of his best games this season. I mean, Taurean Prince, Kuzma, Brook Lopez all contributed a bit as well. Nice well-rounded performance as a whole, getting pretty good contributions from the majority of guys. And look, here's the first beneficial part about the Bucks. They're legitimately 9 deep. Like, they have 9 legit guys that I think you can put on the court in a playoff series and they can have success in. Obviously Damian Giannis, but then Kyle Kuzma, Brook Lopez, Taurean Prince, Andre Jackson, Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, and AJ Green. And I think AJ Green's one of the most underrated players in the sport. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all. I think he's legitimately one of the most underrated players in basketball. A legitimately high-level on-ball defender who is super physical, plays really hard, and knocks down a ton of three-point shots. He's not much of a threat beyond the shooting ability whatsoever on the offensive end of the court, but he's really underrated defensively, and he's an elite level shooter. Really valuable player to have on the team. Gary Trent Jr.'s had a good year in all honesty as well. After what was a really rough start first few games of the season, he's also had a good year. Taurean Prince has shot the ball well pretty much all season. Brook Lopez just seems to have been the same player for the last 4 years, which means he's a rim protector and he shoots threes. That's about it, but he does those things at a high level. And then Andre Jackson, if nothing else, is going to provide energy, effort, and defense. And he's still in the starting lineup. He doesn't play starter minutes, but either way, I do think having him next to Damian Lillard in that starting lineup can definitely be a good little strategy for the Bucks. And as a whole, look, I really do like this team. I think they're legitimately good. I think when you have a guy like Damian Lillard who can go shot for shot with anybody down the stretch of close games, that is a huge key to success. And he has really had overall, I would say, a pretty great year. Definitely bounced back pretty well from last season. And look, realistically, I mean, I don't think they're in a terrible spot. Like, obviously they're going to be missing Giannis the next few games, but maybe he's back right after the trade deadline, right after the All-Star break. And even if not, maybe he misses another game or two. But either way, you're looking at worst 2 losses here to Golden State and Minnesota. And look, things aren't perfect, but Milwaukee's the 5 seed in the East. They're a game back of the Pacers with 31 games left to play. Like, this is not a terrible spot for Milwaukee to be. They are right in the thick of things for that 4 seed, 4 home court advantage in the first round against likely the Pacers, and an opportunity to give themselves a chance. Like, I honestly think they wouldn't be too mad about matching up with the Cavs in second round too. I'm not going to say it's an easy matchup by any means, but I think there are a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference that would rather be in that 4 or 5 than they'd rather be in the 6 or 7, just because the 6 or 7, if you win, you're looking at Boston in the second round, realistically, you know what I mean? Or maybe even the first round. If you're in that 4 or 5, you win that series, you're looking at Cleveland in all likelihood, anyways, in that second round series. And I think there are a lot of Eastern Conference teams that would actually prefer that. And But I think Milwaukee's in that spot. I think they're in a pretty good position. And the question really is going to be, at the end of the day, can you get enough out of the other guys? I mean, Damian Lillard without Giannis has been dominant this season, averaging 33 a game, 10 assists, and 48, 46, 98% shooting. Like, that's nasty how good he's been without Giannis this season. I think he's having, like I said, a phenomenal year. The concern becomes, can they get enough out of the others? Kyle Kuzma, who has shot the ball horribly this season until getting traded out of Washington. It'll be interesting to see if he can start to shoot the 3 ball better. Guy like Bobby Portis being your third leading scorer probably isn't a great sign. It's all the others in general that are going to have to step up. You're going to need Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, but you're going to need Kuzma to be a contributor. Like, you're going to need him to rebound. You're going to need him to play hard, play more defense than he's been used to the last couple of years in Washington. He's got to be that glue guy. He's got to play with effort. And then you need guys like Gary Trent, on AJ Green, Taurean Prince to knock down threes. And again, Andre Jackson, he may not play a huge role offensively, but he has to be aggressive. He has to be assertive, and he has to play with force, and especially on the defensive end of the court. As long as they can get those things, this team is really, really terrifying. And we've seen them on the right night absolutely wax teams like the Spurs, a team like the Thunder in the in-season tournament finals. They just wiped them off the floor. Like, this is a team that when they have looked their best this season, looked like they can hang with absolutely anybody. The question with them has really been consistency, and that's why they're 28 and third, 23. Now, to be fair, they started the season 2-8. So that means since then they're 26 and 15, which is a very, very good stretch. That's very contend for a title-ish. I mean, it really is, in all honesty. And so is there a path towards them winning a title? I think it's small, but I think it's possible. And I think if you're in the situation that the Bucks are, with a roster that is getting older, your 2 co-stars are getting older, you want to try to go for it. And I think that's what the Kuzma trade was, despite the fact I did not like the trade. I think it was a theory to add more defense to the lineup, more youth and athleticism and versatility, and hope that Kuzma can start knocking down some threes and playing more winning basketball. And if he can do that, to be fair, then this team's gonna be really good. Like, I don't want to sit here and bash them at all, because I think there's real path to them being a phenomenal basketball team if Kuzma can buy in all the way and play his role at a high level and all that type of stuff. And you know what, we'll see what happens. But I will say, they do have the hardest record left in the entire Eastern Conference, or hardest schedule left in the entire Eastern Conference by opponent strength of schedule for the rest of the year, which is pretty tough. They got a lot of good Western Conference teams. They still have to play in OKC, Denver twice, Houston, the Lakers twice. Like, they got some loaded matchups for sure left in the tank this season, but it's going to be fun to watch. And I think they're pretty good. And they do seem to step up to play on a higher stage when they're on national television. It feels like they are a higher level team. And that's another big deal. And overall, like, the advanced numbers aren't bad. They're 11th in defensive rating at a 112.6. Their offensive rating is a 114.1. Like, overall, it gives them a positive net rating of 1.5. And again, they're hovering around that top 10 teams in the league, I feel like, on both ends of the court. If they can find a little bit more consistency here in the second half of the season, they could quickly become, maybe they're borderline top 5 for the rest of the season in those areas. And at that point, you're a serious title contender. Like, this is a team that is absolutely being slept on, but I'm not really sure they should be, because I wouldn't be shocked to see them make a run at least to the conference finals. Like, especially if they get set up where they're playing, say, Indiana at home with home court advantage, and then they're playing Cleveland. I wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the conference finals at all. Like, this team's good, they're competitive, and I think they're in position to be a pretty successful squad. Maybe not for the foreseeable future, but at least this year and over the next couple. So excited to continue to watch this Milwaukee team and see what they can do. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.